What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute. Sorry, guys, for these NBA power rankings. Haven't been as consistent as I used to, releasing these weekly. Going to be trying to do that. This is the fourth one, I believe, of the NBA power rankings. So we're going to get at this. This has been a couple weeks since we've done the other one. So some movement this week for this rankings for sure. Let's dive right into it, though. Starting out with number 30, the worst team in the NBA. We have a new worst team. It's going to be the Detroit Pistons. Right now, this team is on, I believe, a 14-game losing streak or something like that. That's the biggest in the NBA at 2-15. 0-5 since we last did them. That's just unacceptable. The Detroit Pistons start out the year 2-1, and then it's been going all downhill since then. Even played the Wizards last night and couldn't even beat them. So, been a very frustrating start. I thought that the Pistons coming into the year, their talent might come together. It just hasn't worked that way, though. Hasn't resulted in wins and really just being competitive at all at this point. And then we have the Washington Wizards, the next team, going to be jumping up, swapping places with the Pistons. So congratulations for the Wizards, getting the win over the Pistons, the reason why they are above here, but, not the worst team in the NBA. But, the Wizards are still, in my opinion, just is a worst team candidate at this point. I mean, they have 3-14. That's just not how you want to start out the season at all. Only 3 wins in 17 games, man. Just absolutely embarrassing. Really need to figure out things right there. But, I mean, what can we expect, though? The Wizards have a huge lack of talent on their roster. All right, number 28, we do have the Spurs, dropping down 2 spots. They started out this season playing like a good team. There was the concern about the point differential at the beginning of the year when they were like 3-2 or something. But now they are 3-14, have lost 12 straight games. And yeah, the point differential is clearly a massive effect right now. Minus 12.9, that is the worst by far in the league. The next is minus 9.1. So yeah, the Spurs have not been competitive. Victor Wembanyama, it's just not enough. Coming into the year, he is the top-rated prospect for a reason, but you just can't rely on a rookie. I don't care how good the rookie is. You can't rely on him to carry the team. So that's what's kind of coming up for the Spurs. We'll see if some of these other guys can step up. Maybe they can figure things out, but not been the start you would want if you're San Antonio. Number 27, we do have the Memphis Grizzlies just continuing to fall. I thought this team would kind of figure things out because they do have like the best roster talent, at least of these teams below them. A few teams I think ahead of them they should be better than, but just continuing to struggle. This week they go 1-4, so not good basketball. I mean, this team needs to figure things out, or else Ja Morant, it's going to be really tough for him to dig this team out of this hole, even to make the playoffs. I believe he had a 25-game suspension, so they still have 9 more games. If you can play at least 500 basketball there, get your team to maybe 7, 8, and 17 or something like that, then he has a chance. But if you're at 5 wins, I mean, that's just going to be – it's possible, but it's going to be very tough for the Grizzlies. The roster talent needs to come together. I know they've been dealing with a few injuries as well, but it's just been a struggle for the Grizzlies. Been not what I expected at all for them to start out their season. And then number 26, we do have the Hornets jumping up 2 spots. And hats off to the Hornets. This week they go 2-4, and when you're in the bad tier, that is a good record. You're going to get some movement the way these teams have been playing below them. Give credit to LaMelo Ball. He is doing a decent job, but the team still lacks talent, of course. Minus 9.1 differential. That is the second worst aside from the Spurs. It's just they can compete, but if they are off, they're going to get blown out, and we've seen that this season. But they're 5-11. We just didn't really expect much from this team though coming into the year. And then number 25, we do have the Trailblazers jumping up 2 spots. The Blazers this week go 2-4. So not bad, just like the Hornets. Both these teams swapping places with the Spurs and the Grizzlies. But yeah, if you look at the Blazers, they have some of the last remnants from the Damian Lillard era that's kind of keeping them going. Also from that trade, that is helping them out. That's the reason why they're near the top of this tier. We're gonna have one more surprise team in this tier, but yeah, I mean the Portland Trailblazers just kind of hanging around right now. Just trying to develop some of that roster talent they got. All right, last team in this tier. I guess it's not really a surprise. They deserve to be in this tier, but number 24, we have the Chicago Bulls dropping down a spot, and I thought last year was bad for this team. This year is even worse right now. They're on a 5-game skid right now. This team goes 1-6 in their last 7 games since we've done this. Just, gosh, Bulls, what does this team need to do to figure things out? Because we know the roster talent's there. It's clearly the best roster talent, at least starter-wise, than all of these teams. They do struggle a bit on the depth, but the starters that they got should do enough for them to at least be like a in the hunt team, right on the play-in tier, like I predicted them to be. But they're not that. They're just too inconsistent at this point. I'm just done defending the Chicago Bulls. They deserve to come into this tier. A lot of bad teams this season right there. Okay. That is the bad tier. Let's get into the in the hunt tier. Only 3 teams in this tier for this video. As we get to number 23, jumping up a spot, we have the Toronto Raptors. So Raptors switching places with the Bulls. This team gets a good week, 4-2. That's really good. A game and a half back of the Hawks right now for the play-in tournament standings. So just hanging around. That's what the Raptors, I think, are going to do all year. Hang around with their roster talent. I think they're well coached, even after firing their coach last year. But yeah, the Toronto Raptors, hats off to them. We'll see if they can continue to hang around and be the mediocre Raptors that we know them to be. And then number 22, we do have the Utah Jazz staying put here. I was debating dropping the Jazz below the Raptors, but I didn't do that. The Jazz this week, the Raptors actually, I got the Raptors mixed up. They go 3-4, and the Jazz go 3-4. So that's the main reason I kept the Jazz above them, because I do think this Jazz team is slightly better. They've had a difficult schedule to start out the season. And the Raptors just, both these teams same record in the week. I just don't see the Raptors coming ahead of them at this point. So I am going to keep the Jazz above them. But, Utah still 6-11, they have won 2 straight. Their point differential is not good at all, -6.4. Raptors, -1.2. So hats off to the Raptors. I do think the Jazz potential is better, though. That's why I do have this Jazz team above them. I think the Jazz have more roster talent. I like Clarkson. I like Lauri Markkanen. I was high coming into this team into the year, and we'll see if they can turn it around. And then the final team of this tier, number 21, we have the Houston Rockets, kind of coming back down to earth this week. And before I get into these rankings, or all these rest of these rankings, I know I'm going to have people say that the Rockets are, 8-7 and the Magic are 12-5. Why are these teams not in one of the top 10 teams or top 15? I've seen NBA ESPN Power Rankings rank the Rockets in the top 15. That's just not how I do my power rankings. If you're looking for an overreaction from week to week rankings, go to those guys. I am going to look at the entire team's season, going to look at the entire team's potential and what I think is going to happen, who I think is the better team overall, taking the records into consideration week by week, but it's not going to judge everything. The roster talent needs to be put there. The potential needs to be put there. And the Rockets just, and the Rockets just have not been a provenly good team. The movement needs to be there. When I have this team down at 29, I'm not going to jump this team all the way up to 15 and overreact like that. I got to stay true to my rankings. So that's kind of my input on that. I just want to let you guys know about that. But yeah, hats off to the Rockets. 2-4 this couple weeks. Not bad for Houston at all. It's not as good as they started, but this team's decent. They're frisky. That's why they're 8-7. They remind me of last year's Pacers. I think playing good basketball, developing some of these young guys. And 8-7, that's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah, I don't think this team is one of the 10 best teams in the Western Conference, though, or the 20 best teams in the league. So that's why they are going to be in the hunt. All right, so that is, only 3 teams in that tier. So let's get into the play-in tier. Number 20, we do have the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets come in this ranking, going 3-3 this week. So not bad for Brooklyn. If you're a Nets fan, you'll take that for sure. 3 straight, so that's really good. Into this tier, Brooklyn, I think, is a very similar team to the Raptors, just have been a better team, I think, to start up this year, where they have the roster talent. They're going to be frisky. Do I think that they're going to be a team that can win a playoff game or a playoff series? Maybe give a team into 6 or 5 games, but I just don't think that they're that good enough with the roster talent they got to go on a run, but it's still a decent roster for the Brooklyn Nets. So you got to give them credit. They rank number 20. And then number 19, we go with the Atlanta Hawks. Going to be dropping down 2 spots here, actually. We're going to have a few teams dropping down 2 spots because of some of these teams that are having good weeks jumping up. So if you look at the Atlanta Hawks, this week they go 3-4. So not what they wanted, or 2-4 actually. Sorry, 2-4 since we've done the rankings. The Hawks are this team. They were the same way last season, where they have, a 4-2 week, 1 week, then the 2-4 week. Go on a winning streak, go on a losing streak. Just kind of an inconsistent team that you don't really know about, and that kind of makes them scary in a playoff series for sure, because they have that talent. They can get hot, but also they can get cold, and that really holds them back, I think. So that's what the Hawks are at this point, at 8-9, in the play-in tier, playing good basketball this season, trying to make the play-in tournament. All right, number 18, we do have the Pelicans dropping down 2 spots. And the Pelicans this week go 4-3, so good. Good for the Pelicans, Zion Williamson. I believe he's back. Or did he get injured? I just didn't realize it. Yeah, no, he's playing. So yeah, Zion Williamson back. Brandon Ingram playing good. And yeah, it's the Pelicans right now. They're not that dominant Pelicans team we saw last year when Zion Williamson was in. At this point early on, we could see them go on a run. Not saying it's out of any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, the Pelicans, hats off to them. Zion Williamson, good coach team down there in New Orleans that they got down there. And this team is a good potential team that can climb up, I think. But then number 17, we do go with the Los Angeles Clippers. Going to be dropping down 2 spots as well here. The Clippers are a 7-9 team, so kind of getting back on track though. 4-2 this week. They're only dropping down. All these teams up here are dropping down because of some of these teams that are going on runs that I think need to come ahead of them. But yeah, the Clippers, James Harden kind of getting situated. We knew it would take time for him to do that, getting into the system a bit. Kawhi Leonard and this team, trying to figure some things out offensively. They're a good defensive team. Kind of been struggling to start out the year offensively. I do think that they can get things going though. And yeah, you don't want to see the Clippers in the playoffs, man. They have a lot of roster talent. So if they can figure things out in this regular season, they're going to be a scary team for sure. And then number 16, we do have the Pacers going to be dropping down 2 spots here. The Pacers go 2-3 this week. So if you're an Indiana fan, I think this season's gone what you would want here so far. You're 9-7. The roster talent's playing good. You're developing. The defense has been one of the worst in the NBA, but they have the most allowed points in the NBA. That's not great. But yeah, the offense is so explosive. They have that firepower, man, that they can just keep up with everybody. That's what you love if you're a Pacers fan. If that defense can come along, this team can be really freaking good. So, Pacers, good team. We're getting to some good teams here. But then jumping up 4 spots, we do have the Orlando Magic. And again, this is where I'm not going to rank the Magic in the top 5 like I've seen some people do. But, Orlando have won 7 straight games playing good basketball. Got to give them the respect they deserve. Since we saw them, they have won those 5 straight games. So, yeah, if you're Orlando, man, playing really good basketball, this young talent developing for you, that's what you love to see if you're a Magic fan. I coming into the year, I was like, this Magic team could be a little bit of a sleeper team, and they've proven it this season. You gotta love where the Magic are going, playing like a good team right now. So, like that for Orlando, and very similar team. We have the Thunder jumping up 4 spots. And the Thunder could be higher than this. They really have the potential to come up more. Not going to do that quite yet, though. The Thunder do go, I believe, 5-2 this week, or 4-2, sorry. So, good week for OKC. I think they deserve to come ahead of those teams that are kind of lying around 500 down below them earlier. If you look at the Thunder, Shea playing excellent basketball, that's what you love to see. Also, the Josh Giddey situation is an interesting situation. We'll see what happens with that. That could hold them back. They have lost 2 straight games. But my, oh my, their point differential is the best in the Western Conference, the 3rd best in the NBA. So you got to love to see that if you're the OKC Thunder, really taking a good step this season with some of these draft picks they've accumulated over the years. So the roster talent is for sure getting there for OKC. And then finishing it off, number 13, we have the Lakers staying put at 13. Not quite ready to move them above any of these Eastern Conference teams that are above them or the Western Conference teams. They go 4-2 this week. So, a good week for LeBron James and the Lakers. We know this team has the potential to be great. They won a championship in 2020. So you got to give credit where credit's due for the Los Angeles Lakers. I do think this team is really solid. Aside from LeBron James, I think this team is good. LeBron James is the X factor as well as Anthony Davis. The Los Angeles Lakers kind of figuring things out ever since moving on from Russell Westbrook. All right, finally, we are into the playoff steer here. Starting out with number 12, we do have the New York Knicks. The Knicks this week go 4-2. So, they didn't start out the year great, if I'm not mistaken, but have kind of getting back, played like the Knicks basketball team I'm used to. Yep, 7-3 in the last 10 games. Really, really frisky team. A lot of good talent. Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle are freaking good players for this Knicks team. Robinson being a really good center down there. especially on the defensive end. So, if you're the New York Knicks, a really good defensive team that's hanging around with a lot of good teams, playing good basketball, and defense wins playoff games. So it's going to be this Knicks team is for real. They're a tough team to beat. And the Knicks deserve to be here in this top 12 playoff tier. And then number 11, dropping down 4 spots, we do have the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are going to fall out of the contenders tier. They were kind of on the hot seat last week, and this week they fall out of it. Going 2-4 this week. If you look at Golden State, this team is much older team, and that has its advantages, but it also has its drawbacks. The older teams, they could get injured more, not as athletic as they used to be. So we're kind of seeing that come up. The Warriors kind of having a tough time, playing with the younger teams in this league. And we've kind of seen that for Golden State. Now, obviously, they have an amazing roster there that is very scary. And I'm not going to count it past them if they can figure things out. But I do think they deserve to come into this playoffs year because of the struggle that they've had. And then number 10, we do have the Cavaliers jumping up a spot. The Cavs this week, much better, 4-2. So I really like that from Cleveland, 5-2 even. That's what you like to see. The Cavs playing good basketball. The offense has not been great. That's the thing I wanted Cleveland to see them take a step up this season is that offense, and they just haven't done that quite yet. So they need to figure that out. Defensively, they're still a really good team. It just can't be Spida Mitchell, though, on offense all day. You got to figure out how to get all these guys going and score all together. So the Cleveland Cavaliers coming in at number 10. And then number 9, I'm keeping the 76ers in the playoffs tier here. The Sixers this week go 4-2. So it's a good week for Philadelphia. They're proving that they are a good team. But are they the best of the best? Are they a contender? And when I say contenders, that's a team that can go out and win an NBA championship. And I just don't believe in that for the 76ers. At this point on, I'm just not a 76er believer. And now, you can call me a hater. I just don't know if Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid's a really good player. Don't get me wrong. He's an amazing player. He's going to lead his team to a really good season. And this is what the playoffs tier is about, is a team that is going to be really good in the regular season to be a top 5, top 6 team. So in their conference. So that is what the Sixers are. I still need to see some more of that this season for me to move them up into this contenders tier. All right. That is the playoffs tier. Number 9 in the contenders, or number 8, in the contenders tier, we do have the Sacramento Kings going to be staying in this contenders tier. They're kind of on the hot seat a bit, but they go 4-2 this week. I'm not going to drop them out because of that. There's a lot of good teams, though, in this tier. But I believe in this Kings team. They have a really good roster. Last year proved it. De'Aaron Fox playing really good basketball. They only have a plus 0.3 differential, which isn't the best, but Fox is one of the best players in the NBA at this point. Sabonis is playing good. Malik Monk playing really good. This team's got to kind of maybe be a little bit better on the defensive end, but there's still a decent unit there. This Kings team has deserved the right to stay in this tier at this point, but again, kind of on the hot seat. And then dropping down 2 spots, another team on the hot seat, we have the Mavericks. The Mavericks started out the season really well, kind of coming back down to earth this week, though, going 2-3, which isn't that many games, but still, 11-6, 5 games. I expect you to be above 500 in those games if you're in this tier, but Dallas Mavericks continuing to show their offense is dominant. The defense always has been a concern, though, but when you have that good of an offense, it's really hard to stop them, though, and that's what the Mavericks are showing. So, going to be dropping down a couple spots, but coming in at number 7. And then number 6, we do have the Heat dropping down 2 spots as well here. The Heat go 3-4 this week. So really good stretch when we had them ranked last week, but kind of go down a bit this weekend. Again, another team on the hot seat. You know, offensively haven't been as explosive as I thought they would be with Kyle Lowry and Jimmy Butler down there. I still really like this team. I really like this roster. But yeah, I mean, the Heat, solid defensive team. I think they are still a contender at this point, and that's why I have them in this tier. And then number 5, we do have the Minnesota Timberwolves jumping up 5 spots. The Timberwolves go 5-1 this week. So the Timberwolves have really turned things on the past few weeks, showing why this roster talent is what it is, man. Rudy Gobert is playing excellent basketball. The defense is coming together for this unit. You know, you look at the Timberwolves, man, they're number 1 in the Western Conference right now, standings-wise. So that's really freaking good. You know, we saw last year this team looked really good roster-wise. Didn't live up to that. This year, they're kind of living up to that. So that's what I love to see. If I'm a Timberwolves fan, I am really happy the way this season has started. 13-4, man. That is really good. So congratulations to them coming into this tier there and above some of these other teams. And then number 4, we do have the Suns going to be jumping up 2 spots here. The Suns this week, you know, really good week. Go undefeated, 6-0 this week. That is good on a 7-game winning streak right now for Phoenix. Really, that offense is coming together now. They are really lighting teams up. It's really hard to stop that when they are when they're doing that. You know, Bradley Beal, 3 games played, I believe. Has he been playing the past few games? Not entirely sure about that. Let's check. Oh, yeah, so he hasn't even played, like, really these past few games. And, yeah, so that's without Bradley Beal that this team's doing this offensively, man. Imagine this team when they have everyone together with Bradley Beal. It's just going to be hard to stop. All right, number 3, we do have the defending champs, the Denver Nuggets. You know, not the best week, though. They go 3-4, so they're going to be staying put here at 3, but still, you know, expect a little bit more from Denver and Nikola Jokic. But yeah, I still know what the Nuggets are. They are a dominant team in this league. I think, you know, they're still number 2 seed in the West. A little bit of a rough week, but I think they could turn it around for sure. And get back up there. They are the number 1 team in the West in this rankings right now. Still. But then number 2, we have the Boston Celtics going to be switching spots with the number 1 team, the Bucks. I'm going to have the Bucks up there. Celtics, you know, losing 2 games this week. That was enough for me to do that. Go 5-2 this week. Yeah, I mean, it's really not the Celtics, though. They're really good team. Dominant team, and this lead, and a lot of other years they would be the number 1 team. But my oh my, this Bucks team just scares me looking at that team. My oh my, man, that offense is for real, and they're coming on right now this week, going 6-1. I think with that roster talent, only a game back on the Celtics, they deserve to be ahead of them. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching this video today. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed the content. Comment down below your opinion or your opinions. And anyway, guys, peace out.